Hey guys, as we wind down tonight, we step into a world of marble columns, imperial banners, and the quiet scurry of footsteps that most history books politely ignore. The Roman Empire, vast, mighty, and glittering. But beneath the grand villas and triumphal arches lived another world entirely, the world of its slaves. You may know the glory of Rome, but tonight you'll feel the chains, the rough stone beneath bare feet, the whispered orders, the small rebellions that mattered only to you, and the cold truth that you might not survive this one. So before you settle in, feel free to give the video a like and hit subscribe if you're truly enjoying the journey. You can also leave a comment. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is there. It's always a small wonder to see people tuning in from so many corners of the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that gentle hum in the background, and together, let's ease into tonight's story. You wake to the sound of iron scraping stone. It's not a pleasant sound. A grating, bone-deep song that begins each Roman day. Your day, you were a slave. You were not always. Once, perhaps you had a name that meant something. Now, it's a mark on a wax tablet. A weight on someone's inventory. Immersive, you can call it. That is a space beneath the stairs. Humid, airless. The floor sweats cold through the night, soaking your thin mat. You share this space with others, though the only warmth is from the bodies and the fleas. There are always fleas. There's no soap. There's no mattress. There's no peace. A voice calls. You rise quickly. Slowly is dangerous. You stand. Your back cracks like an old laurel wreath left too long in the sun. Today you will serve. You will scrub, lift, run, and endure. You will swallow insults like sour wine. You will smile when required. You will not raise your eyes unless told. Perhaps you will glimpse the villa gardens, the green spaces forbidden to you. Perhaps you will hear the laughter of those whose skin has never bled beneath a whip. And perhaps, tonight, you will lie again in the dark, wondering if tomorrow will be the same or worse. And now let us begin. You wake in the dark, not because you want to, not because the sun beckons. You wake because someone has kicked you sharp and hard through the pile of thin bodies and thinner mats on the cold stone floor. The overseer's voice follows, as cheery as an execution order. Up, you are up. Sort of. You sit, knees creaking like poorly built scaffolding. Your spine protests, your shoulders twitch with a night's worth of cold knots. Your bidet sack of straw long surrendered to fleas and dreams has left its familiar signature of bites on your skin. You scratch, knowing it will do no good. The fleas will win. They'll always win. It is not yet dawn and already you are losing. You hope foolishly that there will be bread first. Maybe some cheese, a crust of something, anything. No. There is work. There is always work. You shuffle out, hunched, herded like tired cattle through the narrow corridor. Stone sweats beneath your bare feet. The scent of mildew lingers, a perfume distilled from centuries of damp neglect. Your tunic is a scrap of rough wool, the color of regret. It clings to your skin, stiff in the cold, as forgiving as a debt collector. In the atrium, the master's voice echoes a sound that tightens every stomach. You stand, head bowed, eyes fixed on the ground. Hope flickers again. Perhaps he will pass without noticing. No, he does not. You scrub the floors. The rest, prepare the baths. Your hands ache already, but you kneel, rag in hand. The mosaic beneath you is cold and unyielding. Tiny stones press into your knees like the accusations of forgotten gods. You scrub and scrub and scrub. You imagine the patterns beneath your rag-a-hunting scene, perhaps, or a feast. The figures have seen more joy than you will. They are frozen mid-celebration, while you crawl like a shadow through their eternal revelry. Perhaps the bathhouse will be warmer. Hope. Again, wrong. The bathhouse is cold, the fire's not yet lit. The marble floors send icy fingers up through your soles. You'll haul in 40 of water, each heavier than the last, your breath misting in the frigid air. Maybe today will pass without punishment. No. A fellow slave stumbles. A bowl shatters. The overseer's whip hizziza sound more terrifying than a tiger's roar. The lashes fall. You do not look. You do not move. The same will happen to you soon enough. It always does, and hunger grows. It gnaws, sharp and patient. Finally, at mid-morning, you are granted a piece of bread. You stare at it dry, cracked, older than your memories of freedom. You chew slowly, each bite a battle against the stale crust. You imagine the master's table, fresh loaves, soft cheese, honey dripping like gold. Your reality is bread that could splinter a tooth, and still you eat. You must. Perhaps you will carry linens next. Perhaps serve wine. Perhaps clean the garden paths. You do all of these, and more. Without pause, without thanks, the sun rises higher. Sweat stings your eyes. Your arms tremble. Your mouth is dry as the desert winds beyond the city walls. You think of running. Just once. It's down the street, through the market, into the shadows of the Subura. But you know better. Slave who runs is a slave who dies slowly, publicly, with no dignity left to lose. So you endure. By late afternoon, your limbs are lead. You polish silver that will never grace your table. You fold togas you will never wear. You pour wine you will never taste. The master's wife calls. You carry her perfumed oils, your nose assaulted by sweetness designed to mask a rotting world. She sneers. You bow lower. The floor might as well swallow you whole. The villa quiets. You sweep the courtyard, each stroke raising clouds of dust into the golden air. Children of the house play nearby. Their laughter stings more than the overseer's whip. You remember laughter faintly. It tastes of things you no longer dare to crave. The sun sinks. You light the lamps. Their glow soft and mocking. Night comes. Surely now rest. Without. You serve the evening meal, hands trembling as you pour wine. Fetch platters. Clear bones gnawed by those who speak of freedom as a right, not a fantasy. And when at last the household retreats, you scrub the floors again, kneel in the bathhouse to scrub away the master's careless footprints. The villa sleeps. You do not. Not yet. Only when every task is done, every order obeyed, every mistake punished, are you dismissed without a word. You return to your corner beneath the stairs. The air is thick with damp and despair. You lie down on stone that remembers every weight it has ever borne. The mat beneath you offers no comfort. The bodies around you, no warmth. You close your eyes. Sleep is a gamble. A dreamless night is the closest thing to mercy you can hope for. You listen to the villa breathe in the darkness, to the snores of those who own your hours, to the scurry of rats bold enough to share your miserable feast of crumbs. Another day survived, another day lost, and tomorrow will come. Too soon, too cold, too cruel. You know this, you cannot change it, so you lie there. Eyes open. Counting breaths, counting heartbeats, counting the slow, impossible march of time in a world where you are a shadow, a number, a name scrawled on a tag. There is no soap. There is no mattress. There is no peace. And yet, you endure. Because what choice do you have? None. You wake the next morning with one thought in your mind. Not of food, not of warmth. Not even of freedom, that distant, absurd dream. No. You wake thinking. Don't anger anyone today. You pull yourself upright. Slowly, quietly. You hope that the overseer will be distracted today, perhaps occupied with some distant order from the master. He is not. He is standing there already, whip curled at his side like a sleeping snake that dreams of your skin. You swallow, throat dry. Your first words of the day are not your own. You murmur obedience, voice rough as gravel, gaze fixed on the floor. Perhaps today will pass without lashes. Wrong. It never truly does. You know this well? You have learned. Punishment is the constant drumbeat beneath your every movement, a threat woven into each breath. There are rules. So many rules. Written in no book you will ever touch, spoken only in raised voices and cruel glances. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not look a free man in the eye. Do not hesitate when commanded. Do not falter when carrying. Do not break, bend, drop, spill, stain, cough, sneeze, or simply exist too loudly. That last one is the most dangerous. You could do everything correctly, and still, the master's wife may declare your posture insolent. The steward may decide your pace was sluggish. The overseer may simply feel that your presence irritates him today. And then, punishment. Always swift. Always public. It's always designed to remind you that you are not a person, not quite. A tool, a voiceless thing that can be struck at will. You have seen it too often. You'll see it again today. Perhaps not you. Perhaps the young girl from the kitchen. Perhaps the boy who spilled the master's wine. You hope it will not be you. You pray. Though the gods of Rome are distant, their marble faces look down upon you with indifference. Jupiter, Juno, Mars, they protect those with golden names inscribed on honor rolls. Not you. You serve in the kitchen today. A dangerous place. Too many objects to drop. Too many masters passing through. Too many sharp ears listening for a wrong word. You scrub a pan until your fingers blister. You haul water that sloshes and soaks your tunic. You hear the sound. The whip. Again, this time the baker's assistant. Spoiled crust, too brown. An offense worth 10 lashes. You do not look. You do not wince. Your face is stone. Your heart is a rabbit. Perhaps you think you can remain invisible today, but then a tray slips. It's not yours. It's someone else's. A cup shatters. Wine bleeds across the floor like a crimson accusation, and here it comes. The overseer strides in, whip unfurling. Who is to blame? Everyone, and no one. You press yourself against the wall, eyes down. You are a shadow, a crack in the stone. Another slave takes the blow. Not you, this time. But your breath will not slow, not for hours. Because you know, it's tomorrow, next hour, next minute. It may be you. For nothing, a wrong glance, a stumble, a bad mood above your station. And the punishment is never just pain. It is meant to unmake you, to pull from you a piece of dignity you may not even realize you still possess. You have seen the worst of it. Slaves whipped until they faint. Slaves beaten and chained for days without food. Slaves branded, their flesh marked like so many amphoria in the storeroom. You carry those memories with you. They walk beside you as you serve, as you scrub, as you kneel. Fear is a constant companion, quieter than your heartbeat, louder than your breath. It will not leave you. Not until the whip finds another back or fortune removes you from this place. Though you know well that in Rome, fortune rarely smiles on slaves. Perhaps you will be sold tomorrow. A terrifying hope. A new master may be kinder, may be worse. But here is certain. Certainty, however cruel, is sometimes the only comfort you have left. You move through the villa as the day wears on. Body aching, feet raw, mind dull with exhaustion. You obey. You bow. You listen without hearing. You serve without seeing. Still the whip sings, somewhere nearby. As the sun sets, you allow yourself a single breath of relief. You have survived this day without stripes on your back. But the marks you carry are inside. The knowledge that tomorrow you must begin again. The endless tightrope walk of survival beneath the eyes of those who own your body and seek to own your spirit as well. You lie on your mat that night. It's too tired to sleep, too afraid not to, and you remind yourself, one day more. Perhaps tomorrow, the whip will find someone else, but you know better than to hope. In Rome, hope is a dangerous indulgence. One more thing that can be beaten out of you. You wake again. You wish you could say you woke from a dream, but know your dreams have learned not to visit this place. You wake because a horn has sounded in the outer courtyard, a signal, a summons. Another day in Rome's slow, grinding embrace. Rise. Carefully, the stone beneath your mat is cold enough to bite. You gather yourself what little there is to gather, and step into the narrow hall where the others wait. Silent, watching the floor. Perhaps today will be different. New task. A small chance to earn a favor. A word. A coin. You hope you shouldn't. The overseer reads names from a wax tablet. His voice scrapes through the air like a dull knife on bone. Yours comes near the end. You listen for the tone. Sometimes the way he says your name tells you everything. Today it is flat, impatient. You exhale half relief, half dread. Laundry. You move with the others toward the slave quarters behind the villa. Steam rises in clouds from great cauldrons. The air smells of wet cloth, sour sweat, and boiled olive oil soap you will never touch for yourself. You scrub linens until your fingers wrinkle and your nails split. You beat them on stone until your arms shake. You rinse them in cold water until your knuckles burn. You glance at the overseer. Perhaps if you work quickly, efficiently. No, He is not watching. He watches when you falter, not when you succeed. A trickle of laughter from the villa catches your ear. Somewhere beyond these walls, the master's children are playing. Their lives spin with freedom, with choices you can barely imagine. You wonder what if, but no. That thought is a poison more dangerous than the overseer's whip. You shake it off. You return to the rhythm of your work. Scrub, beat, rinse, repeat. There is no soap. There is no rest. There is no praise. By midday, your stomach growls with a voice louder than your own. You are granted a small bowl of barley gruel, lukewarm, lumpy, and tasting faintly of iron. You eat slowly, stretching each bite. A slice of bread follows, hard enough to deflect arrows. You chew, you swallow. You remind yourself, this is fuel, not a meal. You dare not ask for more. In the afternoon, new orders come. Polish the bronze. You kneel before statues of gods and emperors, their faces frozen in eternal triumph. You wonder if they ever see you, this small figure wiping away the dust of their indifference. You polish until your hands cramp, until your knees bruise, until the metal gleams with a light that does not belong to you. Perhaps this is the moment when someone will notice your effort. They do not. No one sees, no one cares. Perhaps tonight, after all is done, you will be allowed a little more food. Second bowl, perhaps. A scrap of cheese. But you know better. Tonight will be like all others. You will serve until the lamps are lit, until the master's cups are filled and emptied, until the floors are clean and the silence of the villa settles like a shroud. When at last you are dismissed, you will return to your corner beneath the stairs. The stone will be colder than before, the mat thinner, the air heavier. You will lie down. You will close your eyes. You will fight the ache in your body, the emptiness in your belly, the restless hope that still stirs in your chest despite everything. Because hope is the cruelest master of all. It whispers, perhaps tomorrow will be better. And you know tomorrow will be the same. But you will rise. You will serve. Because you must. Because you have no choice. Because in this world, small hopes are dangerous. But letting them die is worse. You carry them with youth in his thread, stubborn as ivy. A voice that says, one more day. One more chance. Even as you know, will never come. You wake to the sound of a broom scraping stone. Another slave has risen earlier than you. They are sweeping the corridor where you sleep. Not for cleanliness, for duty. Wise. Dust rises, catches in your throat. You cough a mistake. The overseer's voice snaps from the doorway. Quieter. You nod. You will be quieter. You will be invisible if you can. Because today, like every day, you walk a narrow ledge where even your breath might betray you. You rise slowly, joints stiff. The mat beneath you smells worse than before. But this is not news. You tie your belt, adjust your tunic. It will not look neat. It never does. But perhaps it will look neat enough. It rarely is. You file into the atrium with the others. The light is still dim. Torches sputter. The air smells of oil, ash, and too many bodies in too small a space. The overseer reads tasks for the day. You listen, trying not to hope. Perhaps today's work will be lighter. It is not. You are assigned to the storerooms. Heavy amphory to haul, grain sacks to shift, endless stairs to climb. The storerooms are cold, damp, a place of echoes and mice. You will carry and stack until your back is as bent as the old porter you once saw collapse mid-shift. He was dragged out. No one saw him again. You did not ask where. You did not ask such things. There is a whisper sometimes among the oldest slaves. A rumor of manumission, of freedom granted. You hear it as you work snatches of conversation in the dim light. A slave who served faithfully for 20 years. To master who, in rare generosity, granted papers. A silver bracelet that marked a freedman. You do not speak of it. But it glows dimly, stubbornly, in some small corner of your mind. Perhaps one day. But you know better. Few are freed. Fewer still live long enough to see it. And the rules. They twist and shift. Serve well, they say, but serve too well, and you become indispensable. Indispensable slaves are not freed. They are kept close. And a single mistake, one accident, an insult imagined, where none was given, and your small spark of hope is stamped out beneath the master's heel, so you work. Without hope, but not without longing, and longing is the worst of it. Longing makes each task heavier, each lash sharper, its indifferent glance from your master's colder. At midday a visitor comes, another Roman, another free man. He passes through the storeroom, a guard in tow. You lower your gaze, you blend with the shadows. But the visitor stops. This one, he looks strong. The fields, perhaps? The overseer shrugs. Not for sale, as the master has use for him here. The visitor moves on. You exhale slowly. A narrow escape from a narrower fate. Life in the fields breaks men faster than whips in the villa. You shoulder another amphora. The clay scrapes your skin raw. You do not flinch. By evening, your limbs shake. Sweat chills your skin. Your belly knots with hunger. You are allowed a small, meal-thin porridge, a crust of bread older than the stones beneath your feet. You eat with care. Not because you savor it, because you know. There is no more. As you clean the storeroom floor, your gaze falls on a small crack in the wall. A rat watches you. Its eyes gleam, bold as any senator's. You envy the rat. It scurries as it pleases. No whip at its back. No endless chain of orders weighing down each step. Shake your head. Foolish thought. Dangerous. The lamps are lit. The villa settles into evening's rhythm. Laughter echoes faintly from the dining hall. You clear dishes, scrub stone, tend the embers of the hearth. And then, at last, dismissal. You return to your corner beneath the stairs. The others are already there. Blank stares, tired eyes. No words. Words are too costly, too rare. You lie down, you count breaths. Perhaps one day, but no. You know the truth. There is no path to freedom here. There is only tomorrow, and tomorrow will be the same. And yet still you count the days, because what else can you do? You wake before the first horn today, not from rest, not from eagerness. You wake because the cold stone beneath you has crept up through your bones. You cannot tell whether it is morning or night, nor does it matter. You rise, not because you want to, because you must. Your body protests, your knees crack. Your arms are heavy, as though someone had poured wet sand through your veins overnight. You do not remember when you last felt rested. Perhaps you never have. The overseer's mood is blacker than the soot staining the villa's hearth. You can hear it in the clipped steps. You can feel it in the way the other slaves flinch before he even speaks. Perhaps he will overlook you today. He does not. You litter duty. The words drop like stones into your gut. You know what this means? You will follow behind the family's fine procession through the streets of Rome, carrying waste, clearing the path, keeping the illusion of perfection intact for all to see. The family's litter is adorned with gold leaf and soft cushions. The slaves that carry it are chosen for strength, for silence. You are not one of them. You are one of the shadows that sweep behind. You will carry the filth, the chamber pots, the refuse that accumulates during such splendid public outings. You begin your work. The litter bearers grunt beneath their load, faces wooden. The family's laughter floats down, careless as petals. You keep pace. You keep your head bowed. The streets of Rome are a river of noise and filth. Vendors shout, carts rumble, dogs bark. The stench of open sewers coils around you like an old enemy. Your task is endless. The chamber pot is never light. The litter never stops long enough for you to breathe. Perhaps no one will notice you. Of course they do. Free citizens sneer as you pass. Children laugh. A merchant spits. You are not a person to them. You are a moving part of the scenery, unfortunate necessary component of the city's grand machine. You swallow your shame with each step. By midday, your arms shake, your throat burns. You dare not ask for rest. The family pauses at the forum. You stand aside. Out of sight, the chamber pot still in hand. You overhear a senator speak of freedom, of honor, of virtue. No. You grip the pot tighter. It is not virtue that carries this. It is you. The day drags on. The sun bakes the stones beneath your feet. You shift your weight, careful not to stumble. You know what happens to slaves who make themselves noticed in such public settings? Finally, the litter returns to the villa. You trail behind, arms numb, mouth dry as old parchment. You think the day's humiliation is done? But no. Word spreads through the household. One of the elder slaves has died. In the storeroom, alone. There is no mourning. There is no ceremony. Clear the body, the overseer says, and so you do. You and 2 others lift the frail, cold foreskin, drawn tight, eyes open. You know him. You spoke to him only yesterday. Now he has waste to be removed. No family comes to grieve. No rites are spoken. The body is wrapped in rough cloth and carted away to the outskirts, to a pit dug for those who leave this world without a coin, without a name worth remembering. You help lower the bundle. The pit yawns wide and indifferent. You stare down, perhaps no. You stop the thought. You turn away. You return to the villa. You scrub the storeroom floor where he had lain. By nightfall, no trace of him remains. Not in the house, not in the minds of those who commanded. You lie again beneath the stairs. You think, even in death, you do not belong to yourself. Even in death, you are a thing, to be used, to be discarded. And if you forget, this Rome will remind you. Tomorrow will come. You will rise again. The city will be waiting. You wake on dirt. This is no surprise. Dirt is the softest surface afforded to you these days. Some nights, not even that. The dirt is dry in places, damp in others, which means a rat visited in the night. Again, you shift your shoulders slightly, feeling the scab where last week's bite still itches. You do not scratch it. You have learned. Scratching brings more than infection. Draws the overseer's eye. Your eyes blink open, one more willing than the other. A thin shaft of early light slants through the rough wooden slats high above the cell. It is not much. But in this place, even light feels like contraband. Beside you, 3 men lie in uneasy sleep. One snores wetly, each breath rattling like a loose wheel on a cart. Another mutters in a language you do not know. The third stares at the ceiling, eyes open, unmoving. He may be dead, or only practicing. It is hard to say. You sit up slowly. You have learned that moving quickly brings only pain and no advantage. The iron at your ankle reminds you of your place, both by weight and by sound. The soft clink of chain is the only necklace permitted here. You were not born to this, not to this ludus, this gladiator school, not to this life. Once you walked free beneath pine forests, felt the soft tug of mountain winds in your cloak, slept beside a wife whose laugh was louder than her temper, fought for your land, your tribe, your own sense of stubborn Thracian pride, and then Rome came. Perhaps, when the legions marched into your valley, you thought they might be turned back. You were wrong. Perhaps after your capture, you thought there might be ransom. You were wrong. Perhaps when they sold you in the market at Capua, you thought this was the worst it could be. Wrong again. You are now a slave of Lentulus, Batitus, Lanista of the Ludus. Your owner deals in blood and reputation. And men like you broken and rebuilt for Roman entertainment, so the day begins with the clatter of keys. The door groans open, admitting the scent of sweat and metal oil long soaked into the stones. The doctor enters first, staff in hand, eyes hard enough to chip granite. On your feet, you stand. You do not hesitate. The first lesson of the Ludos, survival is not found in strength alone, but in obedience. For now the training yard waits, bathed in a light far too bright for your weary eyes. Sand underfoot, pale and dry, though not for long. The sand here drinks blood faster than water. It remembers each fight, remembers better than the crowd ever will. You move into formation. Round you, the other gladiators take their places. You know some of them by name, others only by the shape of their scars. There is the Gulcricesses whose shoulders seem carved from stone, and whose fists would make Mars himself wary. He is already grinning. He enjoys the fight too much. There is the Syrian, lean and silent, who fights not for survival but for spite alone. And there is you, Spartacus. The name they gave you here, brand as much as the iron on your flesh. Weapons are brought forth and not the real ones, not yet. Wooden blades waited to remind you of the real thing, but without the mercy of sharpness. You grip the sword. The wood is splintered, rough against your palms. There will be no gloves. There is no padding. There is no mercy. You wonder, as always, how many of today's men will not see tomorrow's sun. The doctor signals the match to begin. Your opponent steps forward, a Spaniard broad and eager. His blade arcs fast, too fast for a first strike. You block, barely. Wood strikes wood and the jolt bites through your wrists into your bones. You move not fast enough. Second blow catches your shoulder. The pain is sharp, then dulls into a pulsing ache. You do not fall. Falling is dangerous. Perhaps the doctor will call the fight. No, again, you fight on. The Spaniard laughs with each strike. You grit your teeth. You wait, as all good fighters must, for the moment when an enemy's confidence outweighs their caution. It comes soon enough. He lunges too far, too exposed. You step aside, pivoting with the weary grace of a man who knows that standing matters more than winning. Your blade connects. His ribs sing a hollow note of protest. He staggers back, panting. The fight ends there. Not with a victor, not with an embrace of comradeship, only with exhaustion. The doctor nods, faint approval in his gaze. A currency rarer than gold here. Perhaps today will bring better rations. Wrong. The midday meal is thin porridge, lumpy and cold. You eat it standing, back pressed to the wall of the yard. Beside you, Crixus tears at bread that looks older than the stones beneath your feet. Another day, Thracian, he says, voice rough as quarry stone. You nod. Words are not needed. The afternoon brings more drills, more bruises. The sun arcs high, then begins its slow descent. By nightfall, you are led back to the cells. Your body hums with the dull song of too many impacts, too little rest. You lie again on the dirt. Perhaps tonight sleep will come. It does not. You stare at the slats above, through which stars blink indifferent as Roman gods. And somewhere within you, beneath the bruises, beneath the chains, beneath the slow erosion of a free man's pride, there is a thought. A thought that has not died. It's not yet. There must be more than this. You wake again. It is the same dirt. It's the same weak shaft of light. The same cough from the man 2 bodies over, who will either die or natrum, does not care which. And you should not be thinking what you are thinking. You know this. Hope, as you have learned, is an excellent way to ensure pain. It is lighter than a chain and cuts much deeper. But here it is. It's growing anyway. You sit up slowly, the iron biting into your ankle again. The floor beneath you is cold enough to numb, though numbness is a small mercy. Your fingers are stiff. Your shoulders ache. Each breath tastes faintly of damp straw and old blood. The smell of the ludus never leaves you. It clings like bad fortune. Keys rattle. The door opens. The doctor calls the men. Another day of training, of bruises, of wood against wood, and sometimes wood against bone. You fight. You endure. You return to the cell. And tonight is different. There are whispers, not words spoken aloud. No, you have seen what happens when a whisper grows too loud in this place. You saw a man's tongue removed for less. But you see the glance exchanged between Crixus and the Syrian. The flicker of a look. It's the smallest shift in posture as they eat their meager evening ration. You say nothing. You are a foreigner here in every sense, but your eyes are open. Your ears are sharper than they should be. Perhaps no. But yes. The thought rises again. Same that found you in the darkness last night? There must be more than this. Later, as the others drift into uneasy sleep, you lie awake. The Gaul stirs. The Syrian sits upright. Whispered exchange, softer than the breath of a dying man. You catch fragments, guards, weapons, cellars, and you feel it. A current beneath the still air. The first breath of a storm. You do not speak. Not yet. No. But the flame inside you flares. Days pass. You say nothing, but your eyes say much. You meet Crix's gaze more often now. You train harder. The guards notice. They think it pride. They do not see the planning behind your stance. One afternoon, when the sun bakes the training yard until your skin feels crisp as burned parchment, you are summoned to carry supplies. Down to the storerooms? This is no honor. That is punishment for surviving too many bouts. The lanista prefers his men scarred, but compliant. You, lately, have looked too alive. You descend into the cool, damp cellars. Amphorae of oil, sacks of grain, crates of dry fish, and weapons. Broken swords, old shields. Stored here until the smith repairs them more, until they are forgotten entirely. You take nothing, not yet, but you notice, you remember, the weight of each shield, the angle of the rusted blades. the looseness of one barred window. That night you speak, just 3 words. Low, beneath your breath, I am in. Crixus nods, no smile. There is no joy in what you plan, it's only necessity. Another day, another night, the whispers spread not too far, not too fast. A single careless word will doom you all. But the plan grows. One evening, under cover of rain, a rare Roman storm that drowns even the clatter of chains, you meet in the corner of the cell. 7 men, no more. Enough to start. You speak softly, the guards grow lazy, they do not count the blades, the cellars can be breached, and so the plot is born. You train harder by day, you bleed more, you smile less. All the while, beneath each movement, each gesture, there is preparation. The guards remain blind. The doctor watches, but he sees only another beast grown strong for the arena. Perhaps it will succeed. Perhaps it will not. But now, you would rather die in the attempt than in this cell. With your last sight, the cracked slats of a ceiling that never knew freedom. The night draws near. You do not sleep. You watch the rain drip through the gaps in the roof. And beneath the iron weight on your ankle, beneath the bruises and the hunger and the scars, one truth burns clearer than any Roman torch. You are not a gladiator. You are not a beast. You are a man. Soon, you will fight. Not for the crowd, not for their gold. For the only thing worth the blood they will surely spill. Freedom. You wake before the others, not because you are rested. No one here is ever rested, but because tonight is the night. The thought alone is enough to twist your stomach. Not of fear, of anticipation, of something heavier than iron. You listen. First, always listen. The guard's footfall still drifts lazily from the outer corridor. A good sign. The rain still taps against the wooden beams above. Better still, you sit up slowly. The man beside you stirs, opens one eye, nods once. It's numbered. Words, none are needed. You glance around the cell. 7 men lie in their places. It's not sleeping, not truly, but waiting, like snakes coiled in straw. You meet Crix's gaze. He holds it for a breath. 2, 3, then looks away. The signal is passed. The wheel is turned. Perhaps this will work. Perhaps it will not. But now, to stay is the greater death. You rise quietly, every movement slow enough to fool the chains, fast enough to beat hesitation. Your heart hammers against your ribs, loud as a legion's march. You wonder if the guard can hear it, if the rats can. The cell door groans open at the usual hour. No change. That is good, and the routine is your shield. You file into the training yard, and the doctor waits, staff in hand, eyes sharp as ever, watches. Does he suspect? You bow. You take your wooden blade. You train, but beneath each strike, each block, each feint, another rhythm beats in your veins, the knowledge that tonight the game ends, the day crawls. The sun arcs across the pale Roman sky, indifferent to the men it will soon see rise or fall. You eat little at midday. Not for caution, your appetite has fled. Bread sticks in your throat like dry parchment. Crixus leans near, voice a breath against your ear. Storm stronger tonight. You nod once. A blessing. If Rome has any gods worth their salt, they are with you now. The hours stagger past. You train again. You endure. You wait. Night falls at last. As the storm arrives, true to its promise. Rain lashes the walls, drowns the usual creaks and groans of the ludus. You lie again in your place, the chain at your ankle cold and unyielding. You wait. The signal comes 3 faint taps against the outer wall. The Gaul's doing now. You rise. The others follow. In this moment, no words exist. Only motion. The cell door is not the path. That way is death. The barred window loose, as you noted. Days before, that is the opening. You move silently, the others behind. You reach the bars. Fingers slick with rain and sweat find the loosened joint. Pry, you pull. You do not breathe. The bar shifts. A groan of metal, swallowed by thunder. Another space. Enough for a man. Barely. Perhaps you will fit. Perhaps you will not. You do. You squeeze through ribs, scraping stone. The taste of iron in your mouth is not just fear. You've bitten your own tongue. It's no time to care. You drop into the outer courtyard. Mud swallows your feet, clutches like a jealous lover. You tear free. One by one, the others follow. Crix is last, always last his oath, his way. Now, the storeroom. The cache. You run low beneath dripping eaves. Shadows among shadows. The door is barred. You force it. Rain hides the sound. Inside, oil. Jars, grain, and weapons. Rusty, dull, heavy butt weapons, nonetheless. You grab a blade, it fits your hand badly. You do not care. Tonight, it is enough. You arm the others. You do not speak. Then a voice. A shout, the alarm. You knew it would come. You hoped for more time. A hope is a fool's game. Now dash action. You burst from the storeroom into the storm. The guard stumbles forward, eyes wide. Your blade meets him first. The sound it makes is not. Like in the arena, there is no cheer, no music, no polite applause. Only wet, ugly truth. The path is open. You run through the courtyard, into the outer passage, beyond the walls. Arrows whistle past, half blind in the rain. You do not stop mud. Clutches, stones, trip. You run. The city lies ahead, lights blurred by rain and distance. The forest beyond it darker still. You will make for the forest, if you reach it. Perhaps you live. If not, then you will at least have died on your feet. With iron in your hand and freedom in your heart, the chain at your ankle is gone now. Only scars remain. You smile once brief and grim. You are not a gladiator. It's not a slave. Not a beast for Roman sport. You are Spartacus. And Rome has made a terrible mistake. Asterisk, asterisk. You do not sleep. How could you? Your body has run farther than you thought it could. Farther than any man in chains should. And yet here you are. Mud cakes your legs. Your throat is raw from cold air, and too many curses half whispered to the trees. But you are alive, and the forest breathes with you. You crouch beneath a tangle of wet branches. The others nearby do the same. 7 men, ragged, bruised, blinking like creatures unaccustomed to the dark. Because the forest at night is a different kind of dark. It does not politely dim the edges of your sight. It swallows you whole, perhaps. This is good. Perhaps Rome will not see you here. Yet even now, you know better. Rome sees everything, or believes it does. You rest, if one can call it that, beneath a makeshift lean-to of branches and damp cloth. Sleep comes in flashes, half memories of the arena of chains, faces you cannot forget. You wake at dawn to the sound of rain easing into mist. Crixus is already awake, sharpening a blade that will not hold an edge. The Syrian eats a handful of wet grain with a look of grim delight. He is harder than the rest of you. You wonder if he has ever truly smiled. You rise, you stretch. Pain answers each movement, but you do not stop. Pain is a friend now, familiar, predictable. Unlike Rome. You speak quietly. You must move, farther, higher. The lowlands are too near the city. Someone suggests Mount Vesuvius. You weigh the idea. High ground, hard to reach, fewer patrols. And there, the forests still thicken like old lies. Perhaps it will be enough. Perhaps. Not, but you have no better plan, and so you move. Days pass. Hunger grows. The bread you carried from the ludus is gone, each crumb fought over with the same intensity as any blade. You eat roots, bitter things that sit in your stomach like river stones. You drink from streams that taste faintly of iron. And old leaves. Crixus laughs, voice dry as kindling. Thracian, do your people eat trees? You do not smile. Not because it isn't funny, but because smiling feels wrong now. A luxury for men with softer lives. You walk, you climb at night. The forest hums around you, owls call. Branches creak. Somewhere, wolves move through the dark. Perhaps they will find you. Perhaps they will not. But in truth, though, it is not the wolves you fear. It is men. Men with iron and orders. On the fourth day, you reach the lower slopes of the mountain. Vesuvius looms above, half cloaked in mist, its peak a pale promise of refuge. You climb higher. The forest thins. The air grows colder. And then you find it. A narrow ledge. A hollow in the rock. Enough space for 7 cold men to vanish from the world's gaze. You collapse there. No words, just breath, just silence. Perhaps you will live. Here, perhaps Rome will find you by nightfall. But for this moment, this small, fragile moment, you are free. And freedom, you have learned, is not measured in grand speeches or marble statues. It is here, in scraped knees and bitter roots. A bruised shoulder leaning against cold stone, in the knowledge that for one more day you answer to no one. The next morning, others come. Rumors have wings in Rome, faster than chariots. Slaves hear whispers. News of Spartacus, the gladiator who fled, who lives. They arrive in 2s, 3s. Gauls, Thracians, Greeks, Africans. Some wear broken chains. Some carry nothing but the will to fight. You watch them, speak little, but inside, something shifts. This is no longer an escape. It is a gathering. Perhaps the Romans will crush it, perhaps not. But now, at last, the blade you carry is not for sport, it's not for spectacle, it is for war. The forest echoes with new voices. The air stirs with a kind of fierce, desperate hope, and somewhere beneath your ribs, the fire that led you here burns brighter still. You are Spartacus, and this is only the beginning. You wake, but this time, change is everything. You open your eyes to pale morning light filtering through a ragged canopy of pine and mist. The forest still hums with the quiet life of insects, of birds, of creatures that care little for empires. And today, at least for now, you are among them. A free creature. However temporary, your body aches. The cold of stone and root has worked its way into your bones. You stretch but carefully. Muscles still knotted from the fight to days past protest every motion. Still, you would not trade this pain for the softest bed in Rome, not if it meant waking in chains again. Around you, the camp stirs. The air smells of smoke thin, cautious. Smoke, fed on damp twigs, so as not to betray your position. It mingles with the sharper scent of crushed pine and earth wet from rain. Crixus is already up. Crouched by what passes for a fire, carving strips of meat from what the Gauls managed. To catch you last night, it smells faintly of smoke and something less identifiable, hope, perhaps, or the thin edge of desperation. Others gather in 2s and 3s, shoulders hunched, blades at their sides, eyes darting like startled deer. Some speak, many do not. Words have become heavy these last days. You rise and move among them. You speak little, you listen much. Rumors swirl like the mist Rome knows. Rome always knows. Perhaps they will send only a token force. Perhaps they will not. You have learned not to trust hope that arrives too quickly. Word comes by nightfall. Scouts return, faces pale, voices low. Patrols are moving. A small cohort, fast, lightly armed. Moving up the mountain, perhaps they mean to observe, perhaps they mean to crush. Either way, you'll be ready. Your men gather beneath the trees, weapons poor, but hands steady. The Gauls sharpen blades on stone as though willing edge into iron. The Greeks murmur among themselves, eyes bright with the thrill of what may come. You speak to them as the fire burns low. Not with a great speech, no one here needs fine words. They need truth. You tell them, the Romans come. They will be disciplined, yes, but this mountain is no parade ground. It is a wolf's den now, and the wolves will fight. Perhaps some will fall. Perhaps many. But no man among you will die on his knees at dawn. You climb with the scouts to choose the place. The path coils through a narrow gorge hemmed in by stone and root. One misstep here, and a soldier's fate is as good as decided. You set the ambush. Stones stacked high above, spears concealed in tangled brush. Men pressed low behind stunted pines. The Romans will expect broken slaves. They will not expect this. You wait. The sun creeps higher, dragging light across the cold stone. Each breath clouds the air before your lips. The blade in your hand feels heavier than it did days ago, not with weariness, but with purpose. Voices drift up the path, Latin words clipped and sharp as flint. The first helms appear, gleaming dully in the pale sun. Soldiers march with the confidence of men used to winning before the fight begins. Perhaps they think this will be the same. Perhaps not. You wait until the last man enters the gorge. The signal comes a single stone tumbling from above, almost lazy in its descent, and then the ambush springs. Stones crash down, spears fly. The path fills with cries, with confusion, with the sudden realization that no formation drilled in a Roman field will save them here. You move with your men, blade ready. You fight as the others fight, not with technique, but with the raw, hungry edge of men with nothing left to lose. The Romans are brave. They fight hard. But their strength lies in discipline. In order, and today you have given them neither when the fight ends. The gorge is quiet, but for the drip of water from the rocks and the low, ragged breath of those who still stand, among them you count many of your own. Too many, you think with grim satisfaction. The Romans will count fewer. You gather your men, you move quickly. The dead are left to the mountain, the living to the fight yet to come. By nightfall, scouts return again. Rome knows now, not just whispers, not just rumor. Rome knows. Perhaps they will send more. Perhaps they will send a legion. Or two, it matters little. You have seen your men stand. You have seen the light in their eyes when the first blade struck true, and now Rome must see that light as well. You sit beside the low fire as darkness settles. The forest breathes around you. Crixus sharpens his blade with slow, deliberate strokes. More will come, he says. You nod. Let them. And beneath the ache of weary limbs, beneath the weight of what you have begun, one thought burns still. Perhaps this fight will be lost. Perhaps not. But tonight, beneath the stars that care nothing for empires or slaves or senators, you are not. Running, you are ready, and Rome is right to fear. You wake not beneath a forest canopy, nor in a gladiator's barracks. No, today, you wake beneath a ceiling of solid stone, cut and fitted with more care than your life was ever granted. A villa, but not your villa. Of course not. You are a household slave now. The tag around your neck reminds you of this with every movement. A small oval plate of bronze. It presses cold against your chest as you rise. Inscribed upon it not your name, not the name your mother once whispered. Only a line that says, property of Lucius Fabius. Rufus, return for reward. You think sometimes about that phrase, return for reward, as if you are a lost lamp, a stray dog, mislaid coin purse, not a person. And yet here you are, marked, listed, worn. You sit up. The thin mat beneath you is no softer than it was yesterday. The stone floor greets your bare feet with the same indifference it grants every morning. Perhaps today your master will be in a kind mood. Perhaps he will allow you a softer task. You know better. You rise. Adjust the tunic that no longer fits as it once did. And join the slow shuffle of other slaves moving toward the day's duties. The tag swings slightly as you walk a metronome, marking each step of your servitude. You remember the day they gave it to you. Perhaps you thought they would brand you. Perhaps you thought, foolishly, that a tag was kinder. It is not. A brand fades. A tag jingles with every movement. It tells the world at every moment exactly what you are, a thing that can be returned in Pompeii. Tags like these are not uncommon. They are worn by those most likely to run. Those who have tried, you had not tried. Yet here you wear one anyway, perhaps to remind you not to start. The others do not speak of theirs. The silence around the tags is a thick one, harder than iron, sharper than the overseer's whip. Breakfast is thin today. A scrap of bread, a sip of watered wine. You eat with the others in silence. The tag catches on the rim of your cup. You pull it free with fingers grown used to such small indignities. Today's task: cleaning the storerooms. Lust, vermin, rot. Not the worst job in this house of marble, and masks. The storerooms lie beneath the villa, cool and damp. A place of shadows, of the faint scent of oil and dried herbs. You kneel, you scrub. The bronze tag swings forward again and again, tapping the stone with soft, irritating rhythm. Perhaps you will forget it for a while. You do not. It is always there. Later, as you carry amphory up from the cellar, you hear voices from the atrium. A merchant has arrived. A new shipment. Among the wares, slave tags, new ones, shiny, unmarked, waiting to be engraved. You do not pause. You do not look. But the sound of them stacked metal, cold upon cold, crawls beneath your skin. Perhaps. They will not need a new one for you. Perhaps they will. In the baths that evening, you scrub away sweat and dust. The tag must stay on, always. A chain too strong to break, too thin to carry a visible wound. You see the others glance at it. You glance at theirs. No words. Only the knowledge that some chains lie beneath the skin, and some upon it. Night falls. You lie again upon stone, your breath shallow in the cool air. The tag presses cold against your chest. You wonder, does it glow faintly in the dark? Some nights it feels as if it does. You wonder to what life was stolen to make the bronze in. Its curve, some blade melted down, some coin reworked. Some forgotten tool, now reborn to bind your body. You wonder these things because thinking of them is better than thinking of the truth, that there is no escaping it, no slipping free. Not here, not in Pompeii. It's not while men profit from the weight you carry upon your skin. And if the volcano were to erupt tomorrow, if fire and ash rained from the sky, you wonder, would they find your tag among the ruins? Would someone brush away the dust, turn it over, read its line aloud? Would they think of you? For a moment, a name lost to time, a life summed in 10 careless words? Or would they toss it aside, another bit of scrap in a world too full of such pieces? Perhaps they would, perhaps not. But tonight, as the villa sleeps, you lie awake beneath stone, the tag cool against your chest. And you know, even if you ran to the farthest forest, the sound of its chain would follow you. A life marked in metal, one step, one breath. You wake before dawn this time, not because anyone called you, not because the day has begun, but because the tag against your chest has chafed a raw line into your skin. Sleep is hard to hold. When iron or bronze reminds you that you are not your own, you shift, trying to ease the ache. The chain clinks softly, and you curse it under your breath. Perhaps the wound will heal it, will not. Not while the tag is worn, and the tag is always worn. You lie for a while longer, staring at the ceiling beams above. Trace the knots in the wood with your eyes, count the cracks. Not because they interest you, because they are something you can still count. Outside, the villa begins to wake. Footsteps on tile, a soft cough, the faint rustle of a broom. You rise before they call you better to be ahead of the summons. It saves you nothing in the long run, but it gives you the illusion, for one moment, of choice. Your first task today is in the kitchen. Chopping herbs for a banquet the master has ordered. A celebration. You do not know for what. You do not ask. You move to your place at the table. The cook eyes you, then the tag. His lip curls. Perhaps he thinks you will poison the herbs. Perhaps he simply enjoys reminding you that even among slaves, some are lower than others. You lower your gaze and begin. Parsley, rosemary, mint. Scent of them rises around you, bright and sharp. Almost enough to mask the sour tang of the storeroom that clings to your tunic. Almost your fingers move on their own now. The knife flashes, the pile of leaves grows, and always. The tag swings forward and back, brushing the edge of the table, catching on the twine at your waist. A small, constant interruption. Later, as you carry baskets of bread to the dining room, you pass the household steward. He is speaking to a scribe. You catch only part of it. New tags ordered. Finer metal, clearer script. The old ones tarnish too quickly. You feel the words like a slap. Not for their cruelty as expected, but for their careless truth. The tag is not meant to endure you. You are meant to endure the tag. Its letters will outlast your skin, your name, perhaps even your bones. And when it fades, it will be melted down and made again. For another neck, perhaps that neck will be freer, perhaps not. In the afternoon, you are sent to the atrium to help clean the mosaic floor. On your knees, you scrub small stones set by hands that likely wore chains of their own. A strange thought, that a slave's fingers setting the floor on which his master now treads so proudly. You wonder if those stones remember the tag swings again. Taps the floor. You'll hear it louder than the brush in your hand. A visitor arrives as you work. A merchant of metal goods, speaking in bright tones about the quality of his bronze and silver. He opens a box and tips it forward. Dozens of tags spill across the table. Small, flat, shining. You do not look. You cannot not look. Each one blank, waiting. The merchant's voice floats over you. For the market, for the mines, for the kitchens, for those with stubborn hearts. You grind the brush harder into the mosaic, knowing full well which category you belong to. Later, in the quiet of the storage room, you dare to touch the edge of your tag. The letters beneath your fingers are worn now. The surface dulled by time and sweat, but still they speak. Property of Lucius, Fabius Rufus. And you know when they dig beneath the ashes of this city someday, when hands brush away the dust and the weight of centuries, what will they find? Not you, not your face, not your story. Only this, a small tag of bronze, stamped with a name not your own. Perhaps they will wonder. Perhaps they will not. You lie again that night upon stone, the tag cooled against your chest. The wound beneath it weeps slowly, quietly. You. Imagine the metal outlasting you, buried in layers of ash and time. A life marked in metal, name erased in silence. You wonder as you drift toward restless sleep, if the earth swallows Pompeii tomorrow, will the gods remember to melt the tags? 2. Or will they too remain waiting for someone, someday, to read aloud the names of the lost, the used, the forgotten? Perhaps not. You wake before dawn, though no one asked you to. Sleep was thin last night, easily torn by the rough jostling of the cart, the cold that crept through the wooden slats beneath your back, and the weight of what lies ahead. You lie still, watching as the blackness beyond the cart's edge softens into dull gray. Already, the sounds of Pompeii stir hooves on stone, shutters creaking open, the wet slap of cloth against cistern water. A city waking for business, and today, business includes you. You shift, careful not to scrape your wrists against the rope that binds them. Skin there is already rubbed raw, the fibers ground into your flesh like the signature of some careless scribe. The tag at your neck swings softly with each breath, a constant and unwanted companion. You try not to think of it, and of course, that ensures it will not leave your mind. Perhaps the tag will come off soon, perhaps not. The cart halts with a lurch that sends you sideways into the body of another slave. A murmured apology passes. Between you, the sort of apology that no one in this place truly means, there are no offenses here worth acknowledging, and fewer worth forgiving. The driver's voice barks a command you do not need to hear to understand. The rough hands of a guard haul you upright. You stumble from the cart into a square already warming beneath the rising sun. You know this square? Everyone in Pompeii does. It's the marketplace. Once. Perhaps it bustled with fishmongers, olive sellers, and the sharp calls of hawkers competing for attention. Perhaps it still does, beyond the wooden scaffolds and crude platforms now crowding its center. But here, in this space today, it sells something else entirely. You, and a dozen others, stripped of property, of station, of name. Your tag is all that remains, a neat, official lie stamped into thin bronze, property of Lucius Fabius Rufus, return for reward. You wonder as you are herded toward the platform what reward that would be, or for whom perhaps a silver coin. Perhaps nothing more than the master's indulgent smile as he contemplates how icily men can be replaced. You mount the platform in silence, legs stiff from hours of poor rest. The boards beneath your feet sag beneath the collective weight of those who stand upon them, and you wonder if today they will finally give way. You almost hope they do. The crowd gathers in slow waves. It's wealthy men and women in clean linen tunics, merchants fat with recent profit, overseers whose eyes flick across the rows of human stock with the same calculation they might apply to cattle. You stare straight ahead, not because you were told to, though you were, but because there's nothing else worth looking at. Perhaps the buyers will ignore you. Perhaps not. The auction begins. Voices rise and fall around you, words sharp as fish knives. Some laced with bored amusement, others with naked hunger. You feel, rather than see, the gaze of a merchant as he approaches. His steps are deliberate, slow, the stride of a man accustomed to choosing things that cannot refuse him. He fingers your tag first, as they always do, turns it with dry fingers, as if testing whether the metal alone might reveal your worth. The words he mutters are for the dealer, not for you. Good shoulders might last a season in the quarry. You swallow, not because you fear the work, because you have seen too many who do not return from such places. Perhaps he will buy you, perhaps not. He moves on. You breathe. Not relief exactly. Only the brief release of breath long held. Next comes a woman, veiled and thin, eyes glittering behind folds of fine linen. Her steward whispers in her ear, pointing to one, then another. No, you do not watch them. Not to meet the gaze of those who measure you, and yet the tag betrays you again, its bright curve catching the morning light. She sees, she approaches. Fingers cool as marble lift the tag, trace the inscription. Run away? She asks softly. The dealer shrugs. Preventative measure. She nods. No further questions. The game is played and finished. She moves on. Leaving the chain heavier than it was a moment before, you shift slightly, and the tag swings once more, a soft, hollow sound against your chest. Perhaps the bidding will skip you today. Perhaps not. The sun climbs higher. Square grows crowded, the air thick with sweat and the scent of too many bodies held too long beneath the sun. Shift from foot to foot, knees aching. The tag scrapes softly with each movement, a rhythm you now know too well. At last, a new voice cuts through the din young, sharp, eager, a buyer too new to mask his appetite. He circles the platform, pauses before you, and grins. This one, he says, fit enough, cheap enough, you hear. The price spoken. It is less than you had hoped for, though why you hoped, you do not know. Perhaps they will not accept it. Perhaps they will. Coins clink. The chain at your neck tugs sharply as you are pulled down from the platform. No farewells. No acknowledgments. You walk behind your new master's steward, each step measured, careful. The tag sways with the rhythm of your gait, announcing you with every movement. You pass through streets once known, now foreign. The shadows beneath the colonnades seem deeper, the faces of passers be blurred by dust and distance. Perhaps the new house will be kinder. Perhaps not. But even now, beneath the layers of fear, of resignation, of the ache in your limbs and the weight of the tag, one thought lingers still. Perhaps one day, its chain will break. Perhaps, but not today. And as the sun burns above Pompeii's marketplace of flesh, your tag swings steadily with each step, a soft, constant reminder that hope is the heaviest chain of all. You wake. The bed beneath you is not a bed at all. Just a thin mat stretched across a wooden frame. It's the kind of surface that pretends to be softer than the stone floor it spares you from. You do not complain. There is no point. Something at least enough distance from the scurrying feet of rats below. And anyway, the first thing you feel today is not the mat. It is the chain. It tugs lightly at your throat as you move, a gentle, hateful reminder that you are marked. The tag swings forward when you sit up, knocking softly against your chest with its familiar metallic thud. You glance around the cramped room where the household slaves sleep. You know this place by heart, the rough plaster walls streaked with soot, the small, cracked window that grants no view. You could reach it if not for the chain. Perhaps today, they will allow you out into the garden. Perhaps not. You rise with the others. No one speaks this early. The scrape of sandals across stone is louder than any greeting would be. You move to your place in the kitchen. The work is always the same. Scrub pots blackened by careless hands. It haul water up from the cistern until your shoulders burn. Peel vegetables with a knife dulled by use and time. The tag swings with each motion. Forward when you bend, back when you lift, tugging, pulling. You would think the skin beneath it would grow numb by now. It does not. Perhaps one day it will, but not today. You steal a glance at the overseer. His gaze is sharp, the kind of gaze that watches not out of curiosity, but for the smallest error. You keep your head down, your hands busy, your breathing steady. At midday, you carry bread to the dining room. The floor beneath your feet is smooth, worn by years of sandals finer than yours. The walls gleam with painted scenes gods' battles, nymphs frolicking in worlds far removed from yours. Perhaps they see you, these painted figures. Perhaps not. You wonder, as you pass beneath them, whether the artist who painted such fine details wore a tag of his own. You set the bread carefully upon the table, fingers light as if handling glass. The diners speak loudly, laughing at jokes that bend the world in ways you will never understand. You turn to go, but a voice stops you. You bring wine. You nod, the movement pulling at the chain once more. You fetch the wine from the storeroom, chilled in an amphora older than you. As you pour, a hand reaches out, fingers too soft, too idle. They brush the tag deliberately, turn it so the letters face upward. Property of Lucius Fabius Rufus. Return for reward. A chuckle follows, low and amused. You wear it well. You say nothing. You know the words that might rise in your throat would only summon the whip? Later, back in the kitchen, you scrub the amp free. Your fingers stinging from cold water and rough stone. The tag swings again. There is no escape from its rhythm. In the afternoon, you are sent to sweep the garden path. Small mercy fresh air, though tainted with the scent of overripe figs and something rotting unseen beneath the hedges. The sun is high. It presses against your skin like a hot, lazy hand. Perhaps the tag will heat enough to burn. It does not, but it grows heavier with the weight of sweat and dust. You pause beneath a fig tree, its broad leaves casting uneven shadows across the ground. For a moment, the tag rests cool against your chest, shaded at last. Perhaps here, unseen, you might unfasten it. Just for a moment, but no, you know better. The chain's clasp was set by hands that trust no one. Its removal would be noticed, and punishment would follow close behind, so you work on. As the sun begins to fade, shadows stretching longer across the tiled floors, you are sent to clean the baths. The baths are empty now, the day's guests gone. You scrub the floors, your knees aching upon the damp stone. The tag swings forward with each stroke of the brush, tapping the floor in steady, maddening rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. Perhaps if you scrub long enough, hard enough, it will wear itself away. It will not. When the work is done, you return to your mat. The others lie in silence, their breathing soft, resigned. You lie back, staring at the cracked ceiling. The tag presses cool against your chest. You wonder, as you often do, whether anyone, beyond these walls, knows you wear it. Whether anyone beyond these streets would care? Perhaps they would, perhaps not. But tomorrow, when the sun returns to bake the garden paths and the tag begins its endless dance once more, It will not matter. You will rise. You will serve, and the tag will swing. Asterisk, asterisk. You wake before the sky has decided whether to be night or morning. The air is heavy. It smells wrong, like wet stone and dust. It's like the breath of a beast you cannot see, only feel. You sit up slowly on your thin mat. It's a familiar tug of the tag greeting you like an unwanted friend who arrives too early and stays too long. It scrapes against your chest as you pull your tunic straight, though the fabric does little to hide the bronze plate. It never has. You glance at the window, the same cracked pane you have looked through so many mornings. But today, the light that should creep through does not. The others stir around you. They smell it too. Something in the air that clings to your skin, fills your mouth, coats your teeth. You stand. The overseer's shout is late this morning. Unusual. Worrying, perhaps. Means nothing. Perhaps not. The household is already in motion by the time you reach the atrium. Slaves dart between rooms with wide eyes. Steward barks orders that shift. With each breath, pack the silver. No fetch more water. Seal the storeroom first. The master is nowhere to be seen. But fear is thick in the air, sharper than vinegar. It's heavier than the smoke now curling down the hall. Smoke, not the kind from a kitchen. Not from a careless lamp. A different smoke. Thicker. Older. You taste it in the back of your throat, Earth. Fire. Something ancient forced from the belly of the mountain. You know the stories? Everyone in Pompeii knows them. Vesuvius is waking. Perhaps it will pass, as it always has. Perhaps not. You are ordered to carry water to the baths. An absurd command, given the smoke that now seeps from the walls themselves. But you obey. Amastata. Tag swings forward as you bend to lift the amphora. Its chill is gone, now warmed by your skin and the rising heat that seems to breathe through the stones beneath your feet. You cross the atrium as the first stones fall. Not large, not yet. Small, hot pebbles that clatter against the roof tiles. Like a sudden rainstorm of bone and ash. You pause beneath the colonnade. So do the others. Heads turn upward. Eyes widen. Perhaps this is the worst it will be. Perhaps not. A shout, in order to gather valuables. The overseer grabs your shoulder roughly. To the storeroom. Now, you run. The tag bounces with each step, slapping against your chest in a frantic rhythm. In the storeroom, the air is thicker still. The light is dim, filtered through a sky gone black. You help haul crates toward the door, hands shaking not from exertion, but from the knowledge that no amount of silver will stop the mountain's breath. Ash begins to fall, not in flakes, but in waves. A dry, choking rain that turns the air to powder. Perhaps the masters will flee and take you with them. Perhaps they will flee and leave you behind. You glance at the others. They know the truth as well as you do. Slaves are not first to the carts. They are last. If at all, you do not stop working. Not yet. Movement, even futile, keeps fear at bay. The tag grows heavier as the ash clings to it, turns its bright surface to dull gray. It swains less now. The chain stiffens beneath the weight of dust and sweat. You are sent to the garden. Masters favored hounds. Another absurd task. The dogs are gone, or buried, are wiser than men. The garden path is half hidden now. Leaves sag beneath the weight of ash. The sky above is a smothered dome of shifting gray and red. You do not find the hounds. You return empty-handed. No one notices. The house is nearly silent now. Voices that once rang across the atrium have fallen away. You step carefully through. Drifts of ash that rise past your ankles. The tag no longer swings. It drags. It pulls. Perhaps the master has fled already. Perhaps not. You reach the atrium once more and find it nearly empty. A single cart waits beyond the gate. A steward loads it with chests, then turns, scanning the faces that remain. You do not move. You do not hope. You know the order of such things. 2 more, the steward calls. A hand grips your arm. You are shoved forward, out. Onto the cart, a mercy, an accident. Both at once, you do not care. As the cart lurches forward, you clutch its side, the tag now caked in ash. It's unreadable. Perhaps you will reach the edge of the city? Perhaps not. Perhaps the tag will matter when they find you beneath the ash. Years from now, turning the earth with careful hands, perhaps it will not. But as the mountain roars behind you, and the sky turns to night beneath the noon sun, one truth remains. You are still chained, still marked, still seen as property even. As the world ends around you, the tag swings once more slow. Deliberate as if to remind you that chains do not fear fire, or stone, or time. Only the hand that dares to break them. Asterisk, asterisk. You wake on linen sheets, crisp and cool against your skin. Not your skin, of course. You're only here to prepare the room. You rise slowly. Knees stiff from the marble floor where you slept the few hours allowed. The master's sleeping chamber is wide, pale light already creeping through latticed windows. The air smells of dusted rose oil, fading incense, and the faint musk of the previous night's indulgence. You cross the floor, bare feet soft against. Mosaics depicting triumphs you will never claim. You begin your work folding, smoothing, arranging. Every movement must be careful, silent. Perhaps today's banquet will be a small one. Perhaps not. The steward enters with the first list of the morning. His voice is clipped, impatient. He does not look at you when he speaks. Baths prepared by the third hour. Dining couches set. 24 dinner. The good silver. The good silver. The phrase alone weighs more than the platters themselves. You bow, the motion tugging faintly at the chain beneath your tunic. The tag swings once against your chest, still there even beneath fine linen. No occasion is too grand to conceal your status. You pass through the halls of the villa, their walls painted with frozen scenes of gods and lovers. You wonder if the artist imagined that their work would watch such labor. The other slaves move, quickly now, their eyes down, arms laden with garlands amphory, bolts of colored cloth. The house is alive in a way it never is on quieter days, buzzing, with a quiet panic that comes before wealth pretends to be effortless. You descend to the baths first. The heat rises in waves as you enter the caldarium. Steam coils in the air, thick with the sharp tang of heated metal and old sweat. You fetch buckets of water, pour them carefully over the stone, watching the mist bloom upward like a slow, pale cloud. Perhaps the master will notice the preparation. He will not. Your fingers ache from the weight of the bronze bucket. Your tunic sticks to your skin in the damp heat. The tag beneath it grows slick and warm. It presses harder against you, as if reminding you not to mistake this work for your own life. By the second hour, the baths gleam. The floors shine beneath a thin layer of oil. Towels are stacked. Unguents arranged. Next, the triclinium. Dining room. You enter quietly, arms full of fine linen and soft cushions. The couches curved, low, decadent to wait their masters and guests. You spread the linens carefully, smoothing each crease with a palm you do not allow to shake. You place the cushions just so, their corners aligned with the practiced geometry. That speaks of opulence more than comfort. Perhaps one day you will recline here. You will not. Your place is on the floor, or in the kitchen, or unseen behind a pillar ready to serve. The silver arrives. Polish it until your reflection stares. Back with dull eyes, distorted by the curve of a dish that costs more than your life. Wine is decanted. Garlands hung. The air is scented with myrrh and the faint perfume of imported flowers that will wilt before the night is done by the fourth hour. The first guests arrive. You retreat then, as trained, out of sight but never far. One shout from the steward, and you must appear with wine, with cloth, with whatever whim emerges from idle conversation. The voices grow louder as the meal begins. Laughter rolls through the triclinium, thick with the kind of cheer that comes easily to those who will not. Scrub the floor after. Perhaps the night will pass without incident. Perhaps not. You wait in the shadows. The tag beneath your tunic feels colder now, as if the bronze remembers what you must not forget. From the dining hall, a burst of laughter, a goblet overturned. A call for more wine. You move swiftly, arms steady, despite the fatigue pulling at your shoulders. The guests glance at you as you kneel to pour, not with recognition, but with the vague curiosity one gives a well-trained animal, perhaps. One will speak to you kindly, perhaps not. One does. He leans closer, voice low. Do you hear us as we dine? You think of such feasts in your own time? You say nothing. You cannot say what you think. That your time is spent beneath floors and behind walls where feasts are crumbs and wine is only a scent that lingers after others leave. You bow instead, move back to the shadows. The feast continues. Rich foods, heavy wines, laughter that grows more brittle as the hours stretch long by the time the guests depart. The air is thick with smoke, spilt wine, and the exhaustion of those who served. You gather the dishes. Your fingers tremble now, though you hide it well. The tag swings forward as you bend, its edges catching the light one last time before you retreat to scrub the silver clean. Perhaps tomorrow will be quieter. Perhaps not. But you will wake again. You will smooth linens. You will polish bronze. You will stand in shadows that know you better than any guest, and the tag will swing. It always does. You wake once more before the dawn, though by now this surprises no one, least of all you. Your body has learned the rhythms of this house, its tasks, its demands. The hours when no one watches, the hours when all eyes pierce through you as if you were glass. You rise from the mat, shoulders sore from the work of yesterday, legs leaden from too many hours standing where no relief is granted. You press your palm to the cold floor, push yourself upright, and the first thing you feel, of course, is the tag. It swings forward the moment you move, thudding gently against your chest. You catch it absently, fingers brushing the worn metal. The letters remain sharp, property of Lucius Fabius Rufus, as though the words themselves refuse to fade. No matter how many times the bronze has warmed and cooled against your skin, you dress quickly, movements efficient from long practice. The tunic is thin, its folds no shield against the morning chill. The tag presses cold now, always begins cold. You make your way down the hall, the villa still half asleep. The air smells of old incense, of damp stone, distant smoke that seeps in through unseen cracks. In the baths, the caldarium already stirs with life. Fires have been lit beneath the floors in the earliest hour. You feel the heat in the stone. Beneath your soles, before you step fully inside, the air is thick. Growing thicker by the moment, steam rising from water poured over bronze grates, turning the room into a world apart. Perhaps today the master will skip his ritual. Perhaps not. You move to your station. Buckets to fill, benches to wipe, oils to arrange in neat rows on trays of polished copper. Every bottle in its place, every cloth folded just so. The tag swings with each motion forward as you bend. Backward as you reach, a constant pendulum, marking the minutes of your unseen labor. The first guest arrives before the sun has fully cleared the rooftops. A senator this time, or so the steward whispers. Important, demanding. Less interested in the baths themselves than in being seen within them. You step back, eyes down. The senator enters the warm air with a long breath, as though it is the mountains. Steam itself that grants him life. Perhaps he will speak kindly to you. Perhaps not. He does not speak at all. You serve silently. Spring in water when summoned. Oil when gestured for. You wipe benches after each man rises. It's clearing the marks of skin and sweat before they cool into memory. The baths fill quickly. Voices echo through the mist deep, pleased, full of idle boasts and sharp laughter. You move among them as required. Invisible in plain sight. Perhaps they do not see the tag beneath your tunic. Perhaps they do. It matters little. Even unseen, it defines you. The caldarium grows hotter by the hour. You feel the weight of the heat in your lungs now, each breath thick as broth. Sweat beads on your forehead, stings your eyes. The tag grows hotter, too pressed against your chest, a second sun beneath your skin. You long to pull it away, just for a moment to let the air cool the seared patch it guards. But you do not, cannot. The penalty for touching what marks you is harsher than the heat. You have seen it dealt before. Perhaps today you will endure. Perhaps not. Another guest calls for oil, his voice sharp with expectation. You fetch it, step lightly across the slick floor. You kneel as you pour the oil into his waiting palm, the tag swinging once again into view. His eyes catch on it for a moment, but he says nothing, only smirks. You bow, withdraw. In the tepidarium, the air is cooler, though not by much. You fetch towels, carry cups of chilled wine to those reclining on broad stone benches. The laughter here is softer, it's more indulgent. As though wealth alone can sweeten the steam. You wonder, as you always do, whether they ever tire of it. Perhaps they do, perhaps not. But you do not wonder long. You move again, your breath slow and measured later. As the baths empty, you remain. Others scrub the floors. You polish the bronze taps and fixtures until they gleam like captured sunlight. The tag swings. Each motion slow now, deliberate, your fingers ache from the heat, from the grip required to hold cloth and polish without faltering. At last, when the steam thins and the voices fade, you are sent to rest. You step into the cool corridor beyond, the sudden chill biting your damp skin. The tag cools again, cold enough to make you shiver. You touch it once, briefly pressing the flat of your palm against its surface. Not to remove it too, would not dare but to remind yourself that beneath the bronze, beneath the name not your own, your heart still beats. Perhaps one day will beat without the weight of metal upon it. Perhaps not, but for now, you return to your mat, the tag resting against your chest once more, and as the villa sleeps, and the fires beneath the baths burn low, you know this much. Tomorrow the steam will rise again, the masters will bathe, and the tag will swing. It always does. You wake to the sound of voices already rising in the atrium. The air is thick with the smell of baking bread, oil lamps burning too early, and the metallic scent of polished bronze, somehow sharper today, as though even the walls know what is coming. A banquet. A large one. The kind that will last until the stars have faded from the sky and the guests have forgotten whether they recline on silk or stone. You roll from the mat, bones stiff, each joint offering its usual slow complaint. You do not linger in the comfort of stretching. There is no such comfort here, and the first thing you feel is the tag. It slides against your chest as you sit up. Cold at first, though, it will not stay that way. Not today. Today there will be too many steps, too many tasks, too many eyes too. Warm it quickly. You dress without thought, fingers tying knots worn smoother than the cloth they bind. The tunic is fresh ore, as fresh as the house allows, but thin. Always thin. The tag beneath it rests like a coin you cannot spend. You join the others in the kitchen. The bustle has already begun. The cook barks orders in a voice rough with sleep and vinegar. Slaves scurry past with baskets of herbs, pitchers of wine, slabs of fish slick with scales that catch the dim light like coins at the bottom of a fountain. Perhaps. The guests will be fewer than expected. Perhaps not. The steward appears with a tablet, its surface shining faintly, where too many fingers have traced names upon it. He reads without looking at you. 30 tonight. Senators, merchants, 3 freedmen of note. Freedmen of note always the loudest, the most eager to impress.
Ow.
The quickest to remind others how far they have risen. Perhaps they will be easy. To serve? Perhaps not. You prepare the dining room with the others. The triclinium breathes expectation already. Couches arranged in their familiar crescent embrace. Low tables placed just within easy reach of an idle arm. You spread linens of impossible softness, careful not to catch the tag against their threads. It has happened before. The cook did not forget. Your back remembers still. Perhaps today, your hands will be steady. Perhaps not. You polish the silver once more, though it gleams already. The wine vessels catch your reflection of face you barely recognize now. Eyes older than their years. A mouth that forgets how to smile when not commanded. The tag swings forward as you lift a platter of figs and honey. The chain tugs faintly at your throat, a small voice reminding you, not yours, not yours. By the 5th hour, the guests begin to arrive. Oh, the air fills with the scent of saffron, of pressed olives, of perfume so thick it nearly chokes. The life from the room, you stand by the wall, eyes lowered, hands folded. The tag gleams beneath the thin cloth. Some will notice, some will not care, some will care too much. The feast begins with wine, always wine. You move swiftly with the others, cups refilled before a guest can even glance aside. Perhaps one will. Speak to you kindly. Perhaps not. One does. A merchant, newly rich voice, thick with false ease. You move well. For one so bound, he says, eyes lingering on the tag's faint curve beneath your tunic. You bow without reply. The chain shifts slightly with the motion. Cool now against the damp skin beneath. The courses arrive one by one, a parade of excess. Whole fish layered with herbs. Birds stuffed with dates and pine nuts. Cheeses soft enough to spread with a glance. You carry platters heavier than they look. Balance them with arms that have learned not to tremble when watched. Perhaps. The feast will pass without incident. Perhaps not. A goblet spills. Laughter follows. Sharp cutting. The steward snaps his fingers. You kneel at once, cloth already. In hand, the tag swings forward, exposed for all to see. You blot the wine. Silent beneath their gaze. Clumsy, a voice says. Not yours, not kindly. You do not answer. You do not look up. When the stain is gone, you retreat once more. You feel the heat in your face, though the tag remains cool, indifferent. More courses, more wine, more noise. The feast stretches long into the dark. You lose count of the trips between kitchen and table. Of the times your fingers brush the polished bronze of cups and platters. 1,000 silent reminders of what belongs to whom. Perhaps tomorrow you will remember each dish served tonight. Perhaps. Not as the final cups are drained and the guests drift away, some on unsteady feet, others carried by those with steadier hands. You gather the remains, bones picked clean. Fruit left to rot, platters slick with grease and pride. You wipe each one. You stack them carefully. You wash away the traces of the night, though some will cling to your hands long after the water has dried. The tag swings forward with each motion. Slower now, tired as the arms that carry it. Perhaps tomorrow will be quieter. Perhaps not, but tonight. As you return to your mat beneath a ceiling too low to dream beneath, you know this much. The feasts of Rome are long, but the chain is longer. Still, and the tag will swing. It always does. You wake with the ache still in your arms from the last feast. Sleep had come late too. Late and had left too soon. Now your body feels as though the marble floor beneath your thin mat has seeped into your bones. You move slowly, cautious not. To draw attention, the household is already stirring again, and the air hums with a tension that settles deep into your skin. Another banquet, another long night ahead. Perhaps this one will be quieter. Perhaps not. You rise. The tag greets you first, as it always does. A faint tug as you shift, a dull knock against your chest as you sit upright. It swings like a metronome, counting moments you would rather not. You dress, fingers fumbling at first on familiar knots. The cloth is thinner than it was last season. Threads worn by too many washings, too much wear. You no longer mind. You do not have the luxury of minding. The kitchen is already a swarm when you enter. Voices sharp, movements sharper still. The cook bellows a string of orders through the thickening smoke. Spices hang heavy in the air. Coriander, pepper, something you cannot name but that makes your eyes sting. You take your place. No words. Needed. The tasks are known. Chop. Carry. Fetch. Perhaps today. You will escape the triclinium. Perhaps not. The steward appears with his familiar sneer, a tablet tucked beneath one arm. He calls your name without glancing up, and you know then you will not escape. Entertainment tonight, he says. Important guests. Eyes everywhere. Be sharp. You nod, throat dry. The tag shifts again beneath your tunic. You move with the others. To prepare the room, the triclinium glows with soft light from low lamps. The couches are draped in silks dyed so deep they seem to drink the shadows. On the tables, bronze bowls of dates and nuts, figs split open to reveal pale, glistening flesh. You arrange them with care, though you know they will be torn apart. Before the night grows old, perhaps. The guests will be less cruel this time. Perhaps not. You stand ready as they arrive, senators in heavy robes, merchants puffed with pride, courtesans glittering like coin. The air thickens with their perfume, and with something else, expectation, sharpened by wealth and wine. The feast begins, as they always do. Food first, wine in rivers. Conversations swelling and breaking like waves against marble. You move among them, unseen until needed. A cup refilled, a plate exchanged, cloth brought swiftly to catch a spill. The tag swings with each step, forward, back. Forward, back. You count its rhythm now when you must drown out the voices. The entertainment begins after the third course. A troupe of acrobats first lean, quick their bodies twisting through the lamplit air. Gasps and applause echo off the walls, though your hands remain at your sides. Your face carefully still. Perhaps they will call for more music only. Perhaps not. The master leans toward the steward, whispers behind a jeweled hand. The steward smiles, the kind of smile that never brings ease. You, he says softly, touching your arm. Wine to the musicians. Quickly you go. The tag swings. Return. Laughter grows sharper as the wine flows faster. The dancers begin, a pair of sisters, draped in little but gold and confidence. The guests lean forward, words slurring at the edges. You serve without pause. Your face is stone. Perhaps none will notice you. Perhaps not. One does. A senator's son, flushed with drink and too much arrogance, his gaze lingers, then sharpens. There, he calls. Do you dance, too? Laughter ripples outward. The steward moves quickly. He serves, not entertains. But the words have been spoken, and you feel the shift in the room. Eyes turn. Smiles curve. Crueler. You bow. You do not answer. To answer would invite more. You retreat when allowed. Blood thrumming in your ears. Tag swinging hard as you move faster than you should. Perhaps the moment will pass. Perhaps not. More courses follow. Eel and honey. Flaming cheese. Peacock's breast roasted and spiced. Each dish heavier than the last. Each mouthful consumed with less care, more greed. The musicians play on, their strings trembling beneath eager fingers. You bring more wine, more cloth, more whatever they demand. Perhaps they will tire soon, perhaps not. The night stretches long. The air grows thick with heat and noise. Spilled wine coats the floor in slick patches you must step around with care. Your arms ache. Your back burns. Tag swings slower, now not from weariness, but because you can no longer stand as tall. And still, they call for more. Music, dance, stories, laughter louder now, edged with something meaner than before. You serve until the lamps burn low, till the first light of dawn whispers through the narrow windows. When at last the guests stumble away, you gather the wreckage, splintered plates, bones gnawed clean, silks stained beyond repair. You scrub the floor on aching knees, the tag swinging with each motion, forward, back, perhaps. Tonight you will sleep. Perhaps not. But when you lie again on the cold mat beneath stone, one truth remains. The games of the powerful are long, but the chain is longer still, and the tag will swing. It always does. You wake when the first voice calls from the atrium. It is not loud. These first voices never are, but it slices through what little sleep you managed. As sharp and final as a knife through cooling wax, you sit up slowly. The mat beneath you creaks. Your knees ache in a way they never used to. Your shoulders feel packed with sand, and the first movement always brings it the familiar weight. The faint cold of metal warmed by your body overnight. The tag, it swings forward as you rise. Presses against your chest with a dull, predictable tap. You catch it without thinking now, fingers brushing the edges worn smooth by years of skin and sweat and time. Perhaps today will be different. Perhaps. Not. You dress quickly. There is no point in delay. The house breathes with purpose, already footsteps. In the hall, the sharp clink of amphorae being moved, the low, clipped commands of the steward. Another gathering today? Not a feast this time, but something grander, subtler, what the Romans love above all. Theater, not on a stage. Not with actors, here in the villa itself. The master entertains not with words, but with wealth, the show of ease and control, that those in power must wear like a second skin. And you are part of that costume. You join the others preparing the reception rooms. The walls gleam where they have been scrubbed and repainted. The mosaics have been swept free of every trace of dust. The air smells of freshly crushed laurel and the sharp edge of vinegar used to cleanse the floors. Perhaps the guests will not notice your presence. Perhaps not. You polish the silver once more, though it was polished yesterday and the day before. That? It must gleam brighter than thought itself. Tarnish is a flaw. A flaw is an insult. Insult is a punishment. The tag swings as you lean over the table, each breath misting faintly on the cool metal. You wipe the moisture away before it dares to stain. The steward appears with his list. His voice is low, precise. Senators, deals, 2 visiting poets, 1 Egyptian merchant of importance. The rest watch them closely. You do not ask what to watch for. You do not need to. In this house, it is your role to see and not be seen, to hear and never speak, to know and never remember. Perhaps you will succeed. Perhaps not. The guests arrive in waves. The household slaves greet them first trained. Smiles, folded hands, tunics without a wrinkle. You stand behind the others, ready when called, invisible until needed. The tag swings beneath the thin cloth of your tunic, a faint reminder with every breath that no matter how well you stand as property. The master glides through the crowd, words smooth as oil poured onto stone. He laughs, gestures, fills the room with ease that has taken a lifetime to rehearse. And you, along with the others, are the backdrop to that performance. Perhaps one guest will speak to you. Perhaps not. One does. A merchant from Alexandria, his voice dry as papyrus. You there? Water. You move quickly. The tag swings. You return with the jug of chilled water, pour with a hand steady through sheer will. Ah, he says softly, eyes lingering for a moment longer. Then comfort allows. A house well kept, you bow, you do not answer. Conversations swell around you, politics, wrapped in pleasantries, insults hidden in compliments. The Romans excel at this, weaving games of power with words as sharp as blades, and twice as dangerous. And you are part of the scenery, the perfect table, the polished floor, silent, efficient slave. Perhaps they think you do not hear. Perhaps they hope you do. You hear everything, which guest eyes, which plate, which senator frowns behind his goblet, which whispered word cuts through the smoke. To reach another's ear, you carry trays, refill cups, gather empty plates. The tag swings with each motion, a silent punctuation to every step you take across the marble floor. The hours stretch, as the air thickens with heat and wine and words. You grow tired, though you cannot show it. The master's theater must not falter, and you are as essential to it as the columns holding the ceiling aloft. Perhaps. The night will end soon. Perhaps not. A poet recites verses now, his voice high and clear. The guests listen, some with rapt attention, some with polite smiles that thin too quickly. You stand nearby. Water jug balanced easily, now in hands that no longer feel their own weight. The tag grows warmer with your body's heat. It swings slower, now heavy with the passing of too many hours at last. The words fade, the wine drains, the guests drift away in slow, satisfied waves. You clear the room, fingers stiff around, cups still slick with grease. You wipe the marble where a senator's careless foot has left dust that must not remain. You kneel to gather a dropped goblet. The tag swings forward one last time. Perhaps tomorrow will bring no guests, perhaps not, but as you return to your mat, beneath the quiet ceiling, one truth remains. You are part of their theater, but the chain is not a prop, and the tag will swing. It always does. And so, you have walked through another Roman day. Or perhaps it was not yours. You have woken beneath stone, served in silence. Felt the weight of bronze against your chest, heavier with each passing hour. You have polished silver that will never be yours. You have carried wine for hands that will never thank you. You have heard words meant to cut, meant to display, meant to amuse, but never meant for you, and through it all, the tag has swung. Always now, as the lamps gutter low and the villa exhales its final breath of smoke and spice, you lie once more beneath cold stone, beneath ceilings painted with scenes that do not see you. Your eyes close. The air is still, and the tag rests against your chest. Tomorrow, the lamps will be lit again. The floors swept again. The silver polished again. The guests welcomed again. The theater will begin again, and you know. It will repeat tomorrow, as it always does,